Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I'm going to look at two of my martial arts series. One is The Girl Factory, and the other one is that one. And I think I don't even know how it's pronounced. I don't know if the writer even knew how the readers are supposed to pronounce that. Anyway, I think it's Chi, but I'm not sure. But first, we'll look at the Girl Factory series, okay? And we'll look through the books, first editions, and also because I have other editions, other publishers. You can kind of choose which is the better. So the series, The Girl Factory, first appeared in 1975, right at the apex of the Kung Fu martial arts movie crazes. The main character, Su Lin Kelly, a character modeled after the famous Chinese martial arts actress Angela Mao Ying. You remember her she played Bruce Lee's sister in the film Enter the Dragon. And you remember the opening scene. Su Lin was the name of the character that Mao played in that film. However, unlike the demure Angela Mao Ying, and her portrayals in the many martial arts movies that she was in, Su Lin Kelly is not only a master of the fighting arts, but she's also a master of all of the sexual arts. And it is an adult style series. I read all three books, and there's only three in the series. As I may have said in the past, sources give and state that there's only two, and that's wrong. There's one online source and one published source that claims that there's only two. There's actually three books in the entire series. Su Lin is helped along in her adventures by her trusty cohorts who appear in all the stories, Zhou Zhen and Malaki. This series is clearly aimed at the adult audience, but has plenty of science fiction themes, especially with the cloning and the Girl Factory premise, and lots of martial arts action. One of the unique features of this series is the cloning, which gives the stories unexpected twists. These books were originally published by Zebra Books, but in my view, and you'll get to see them, the British Muse Books also published the series, and I think they published only the first two. The covers of the Muse editions, as you'll see, are superior. All right, so we'll look at the books. This is the first edition, published initially by Zebra Books, and the writer is Robert Franklin Murphy. And see, Kensington Publishing Company, script representatives. So this looks like a small publisher, and at 190 pages, yeah. So you see different pepperoni hero. Okay, some weird books there in that. Anyway, that's the cover. That's what she looks like. You can see she's using her martial arts skills on the cover. And this is the second book, and it's apparently clones. Again, published in, there you go, 1975, Zebra Books. All right, it says Su Lin Kelly, King's Mate. It's about a tournament, and it's about a chess tournament. That's why it's called King's Mate. It says Su Lin Kelly can fight like a man, but underneath she's all woman. Just ask the scientist created her out of a handful of cells in a super secret cloning laboratory hidden away in the Himalayan mountains. Yeah, there's a similarity between her and the Chi character, and that she was raised and trained in a place called the Chantal Cloister, and that's how she gained all her gifts and skills. And this is the third book in the series. It's called The Man-Made Woman, Mission Impossible, when one man gets out to conquer the greatest invention since creation, the clone, the bionic man-made woman. And this is the third book in the series, published by Zebra Books. This one is from 1976. and it's a first printing. They're all paperback originals. It's the shortest of the series. And this is the Muse editions. And there she is. You can see the science fiction type theme on the cover there. Beautiful, wealthy playgirl who headed a global espionage network, inherited from her husband, took on the job. Su Lin, trained in the arts of the ancient East, Oriental fighting, and the Kama Sutra, brought a murderous skill and sexual prowess to her work, which made her almost unbeatable. Okay, so this is much nicer. And the Muse editions were published in 1976. And this one is a nice, beautiful, almost mint, near mint copy. So it's a very good, fine copy at least. So that's that one, The Girl Factory. And there's Kingsmate. And as I said, it takes place in a chess. You see her using her martial arts skills there. Yeah, it takes place in a chess tournament. Just ask the scientist who created her out of a handful of cells in a super secret process for duplicating an individual from a single cell. Also the head of a worldwide espionage agency that can get her into many bizarre and dangerous situations. There you go. So that's the very rare Girl Factory series. These books are hard to find, published by Zebra Books. And for the longest time, I didn't have this book, the first edition, with her on the cover. But of the Zebras, this is the best cover. Cover artist, yeah. Look at that. That is, doesn't say, I mean, it says it's Ken Kelly, I believe. That's his signature. It doesn't say on the inside, I don't think. No, but that's his signature. You'll know him from some of the covers for the Conan books. It was edited by Carl Edward Wagner. Anyway, there you go. That's the Girl Factory series. And here's the other really strange series. This is the, I want to say Che series, because I think Che Guevara is the inspiration behind this character. Now, I'll give you the lowdown before I show you the books. So there's a total of 4 books in the series. The series first appeared in 1974 and features a super martial artist named Che, I think. Che is a warrior, priest, and king who comes from the mythical nation named Pashman. Pashman is an oriental nation situated deep in the Himalayan mountains, somewhere between India and Tibet. The Pashmanis are an Asian people who have long mastered the fighting arts of the ancients. Chi, we are told, was educated in the West and is a master of the martial art of Kendo, but he seems to use martial arts akin to Kung Fu when he's fighting unarmed against multiple opponents. Chi is helped along in his adventures by a secret agent named Kellinger. Not Killinger, but Kellinger. And his trusty aide, Willard. This is a unique series in that it features a fully bred Oriental martial artist who's reminiscent of Bruce Lee and James Bond combined. And I would say is probably inspired by the Che Guevara mythos combined, and who is both a master of the martial arts and a master of the mystic arts, somewhat in the vein of like Doctor Strange almost. Especially when he's describing some of the scenes where he's fighting people. Che bears a lot of comparison with the Girl Factory series, who also learned her fighting arts from the secret conclave in or near Tibet. That's why I'm showing these together. They're very similar in kind of origin. In these stories, one can find all the conventions that one would expect to find in fantasy and science fiction literature. As you can see, it has a most apocalyptic feel to the stories. And so this is the first paperback original. WW is the author. There's the online sources proofs to a guy named Bruce Bennington and or William Bloom. But according to my research, that's the only names I have. So it's a guy named William Bloom. So this is The Taming Power, the first Che adventure. This is copyright 1974. This is the original. It's Grenada, Mayflower. Nicely bound books. Alright, so that's that one. It's a very good copy. Here's one with a slight spine roll. This is White Fire. And this is 1974, again a Mayflower. Let's see what it says here. The Cosmic Bond and Super Lover. There's a panic in Central America, evil magic, death, torture, and blood in the Holy Cup. A black power in the jungle prepares to manipulate the subcontinent. And against this terrible malaise, the nuclear nations are impotent. But Che will avenge. Called from his Himalayan domain with Willard, a kind of deadly Jeeves with a Luger, Che confronts black magic with white poison darts and psychic ones. Yeah, it's just interesting the way he fights the bad guys. Anyway, so that's that one. For the longest time, I never knew about this book. I thought there was only 3 in the entire series, but there's 4. This one's called The Riches. I only discovered this one recently, and this one has a slight spine roll. It's a good plus copy. This is from 1975, and it's a Grenada Mayflower book. And this is the oddest one in the series. It's published by, and I think this is the first, published by a company called Starbucks. And I don't know who that is. Let's see, oop. Didn't see that. So it's published by a company called Starbucks. And Starbucks, I don't think is Mayflower. And this beta bookstore doesn't exist anymore. Let's see. W.H. Allen. Richard Clay. Okay. And see the copyright. It says William Bloom. Like I said. There's another source that claims that it's a guy named Bruce Bennington, but I'm not sure. Yeah, this one just has copyright WW. All right, so this is 1 or 2 very oddball series. This one is more science fiction. It's called The Prophets of Evil, and it's just really odd. I mean, you can tell by the cover that it was cashing in on kind of the mystique of the Far East, I guess, and the science fiction fantasy type story. So I hope you enjoyed this look at this odd series of books. Kind of rare because they're unusually hard to find, and especially I was just lucky to find this first edition of this and this one. Sorry, this one. I've never had this, but a nice clean copy. I have another copy of this, but it's damaged. But it's a nice clean copy of that one and that one. All right. So thanks for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, and feel free to share the video. And I will attach some of the videos that I enjoyed this past week on the BookTube channel. So thanks for watching. Okay, bye.